I took a trip to New Orleans, Louisiana. So I took a train. Yeah, I took a train. So I took a plane from New York City to Louisiana. This was one of my longer trips, as in like it was like 3.5 hours to get to New Orleans. So I got there, my friend was gonna follow me after, and I was gonna meet my other friend there as well. It was actually really nice. It wasn't in the center of the quarter. We got something just a little bit on the outskirts, which I think was perfect because the noise wasn't as crazy and things like that, but we had a good like walking distance to there. All right, here's a quick Airbnb tour. So here's the kitchen. Super cute. And then for some reason, that's the front door. For some reason, we have the biggest pantry, and that's not the only one here. I'm not gonna use it. Here is the living room. Love the aesthetic. The bar. And then we go into here. King bed. Cute dresser. The bathroom's through here, so we have a standing shower. We have the essentials right here. And then look, we have a New York City bedroom in the bathroom as well. And if you've never gone to New Orleans, it's just like a completely different place than you'll ever go. I feel like this is the only place in the United States is actually old and has history. I just feel like it has more rich history than it does the rest of the United States. It also had a rooftop with a pool, and it was actually on the cheaper side compared to everything else that we saw. We stayed from Thursday to Monday, so I feel like that was a really good amount of time to do things and go places and things like that. In the morning, my other friend came in on the plane and going out just to check like a bunch of different places. And what I really liked is we ended up eating at a bunch of local breakfast spots, little cafes, little like mom and pop places, which I thought was really good. I don't think I've ever done that when it comes to breakfast, because every time I've went to New Orleans with my family or anything like that, we usually make our own breakfast because it's cheaper to make breakfast and then eat dinner somewhere else. So we ended up eating at this little spot. It was kind of like on the outskirts. I don't 100% know what the name was. And then we kind of just ventured out. I've been there before, but my friend hasn't. So we kind of just walked around the quarter, visiting the different areas and kind of like looking at everything, just so we got a view of New Orleans as in the perspective of somebody who's never been there. And so we ended up walking by restaurants that were outdoors and hearing the jazz music, which I feel like the music has actually changed. I feel like there was more jazz like a few years ago, and now it's more like pop. I was gonna say up and coming music, but I think that makes me sound old. But yeah, so we walked around there, we went into shops, we went to the French market. Obviously the French market is where they have a bunch of vendors that go there every single day from about 10 to 5 p.m. and they sell their goods, their homemade things, whatever, things like that. We ended up walking around Jackson Square, beautiful cathedral, and walking in the park as well, and it was super nice. I went to Cafe du Monde, which that's an old cafe. They sell beignets, basically fried dough with powdered sugar on top, and then they have cafe au lait. It's a coffee, and basically it's a coffee that's made with chicory, and kind of like if you're getting hot steamed milk with it. If it's not, then it's regular, like it's just milk. So we also ended up, that was Friday night, so we also ended up partying that night. It's the only night we partied. Definitely went down Bourbon, went a little bit outside Bourbon, was going to like a bunch of different places, and
That was super fun. Gay bars, all of that. So we had a really good time that night. So I would highly recommend it. If you're not like a super big drinker or anything like that, it's worth like walking down, whether you drink or not, even to get one drink. Also got a grenade, but they have a bunch of signature drinks down in New Orleans. So if you're there, try them. One thing, watch out for the test tube girls, because we're not inserting a video to show you what happened. So let's not talk about that. Then the next day, my one friend had to work. Me and my other friend, the two of us went out, and we ended up kind of going outside of the city. We took the trolley, and we ended up going to the Garden District. And this is where more of like the elegant, expensive houses are, and where people have money are, and famous people. A lot of famous people have houses there. We ended up going to the Coven house that was used in Coven for American Horror Stories. So saw that. I was also looking up a little bit history of that as well, which is kind of cool. I guess one of the servants that used to work there kind of haunts the residents, which is super cool. We ended up also walking around, going into art galleries and cafes just to look around and kind of just experience the city and experience different aspects of the city. We actually walked past a cemetery, because when you're at a cemetery in New Orleans, it's very different from around the rest of the world, because, well, around the rest of the United States, because they keep their tombs and everything above ground, just because like everything underneath is swamp water, so everything is above ground, and it's really cool and interesting to see all of these tombs. Everything's super old there. I would recommend going there to see like just at least what they look like. You can always do a tour. They have tours of everything. And we ended up like walking past what's called the Rink, and so I guess there's like a bunch of different like shops in there. There was also a cafe, which was really cool to stumble upon. It seems like the Garden District has a lot of that, where it's like a little small, but not too small, warehouse buildings where you just go in and there's a bunch of shops and people selling things, which is super cool. And you can just walk around and just look at things. We ended up getting rained on. Pretty much every single day we were there was raining. We did go in August, which that's hurricane season, so that was why it was probably raining. It's fine, it's fine. So then on Sunday, we were gonna do a bunch of different things, but we didn't have a crazy amount of time because we did go to a breakfast spot called, I believe it was called the Ruby Cafe, or the Ruby Slipper Cafe. It was really cute, it was really nice, but their wait is like 2 hours long, and then sometimes it's even longer than that. So by the time we were done, it was already past like 2 p.m. So the things that we wanted to do, like go to museums or things like that, were kind of pushed aside. So we ended up walking around again. It was just me and my friend. My other friend was going to meet us a little bit later. We ended up walking back to the French Market because we wanted to shop a little bit more, you know, just take in the city again. And it was really awesome. We ended up talking to so many locals. One couple was from Mexico, and they had pieces made out of terracotta in Mexico shipped to them, and then they painted everything and sold it. I love when there's like a story behind things, so that's why I love the French Market, because it's a story. It's not like a conventional like regular store that you're going into, which I really like. We went to Cafe du Monde again. My friend tried beignets and things like that, and then my other friend ended up meeting with us again and walked around into another antique shop, which we kind of just stumbled upon, which was really cool. And then after that, we ended up going to a haunted ghost tour. Well, it was kind of like a 5-in-1 ghost tour, where they kind of walk you around for 2 hours and they talk about murders and ghost history and vampires and things like that. If I were you, I would recommend, instead of doing the 5-in-1 tour, just do the soul like vampire tour or ghost tour or cemetery tour, like the straight ones, because I feel like there's so much history and there's so much to talk about that you can't really talk about everything. I feel like that's like the best advice I can give you with that. After that, we ended up going to the night market, which is a huge local market that is from like 7 to midnight. You just walk around, it's all outside and there's lights out, and people just, once again, it's just local people selling their work. And there's also restaurants and bars, and that's where you can hear like local music, jazz music. And then the next evening we're flying out. Ended up our flight was canceled, so we ended up staying another day in a hotel that the airport picked for us. Let me tell you, not good. Also, the Uber driver that drove us from the airport to the hotel like almost killed us. Like he like slammed on the brakes and was swerving and everything. I'm like, oh my god, this is it. But then we ended up going home. Some tips just to tell you about, I would say Pat O'Brien's used to be really great. Even for dinner, I would say their dinner is not as great unless you really love fried food. It's fine, you can get fried alligator there, but I feel like where the French market is, there's two outdoor restaurants, and I would say their alligator is a lot better, so I would go there. Pat O'Brien's, actually I would go, if you could, to the piano bar in there. Otherwise, if you really want something good, if you can get it in, go to Preservation Hall. Super cool jazz place. I feel like a lot of places are really good for get a seafood boil, try as much seafood as possible. They do alligator, they do frog legs, they do crawfish amazingly. You can get like a really good crawfish boil. Stick away from like commercial places unless you really have to. For drinks, anywhere, go anywhere, drink all the drinks, because all the drinks are one, cheap, and two, you can walk around outside with your drinks, as well as 24 hours a day, nothing closes, nothing shuts, so it's awesome. The best breakfast place, it was called Two Chicks Cafe. So amazing. Don't touch anything. Be careful about going into voodoo shops because there will be altars. You do not want to touch them. You don't want any bad juju coming from there. Also at night, don't go down alleyways. It's also like pickpocketers and things like that, so you don't want to walk down an alley and have somebody just chump you, whether it's a real person or not. But New Orleans is 100% the place to go. It's just an amazing and different place, and I could be biased, but I love it there. I really do. So I hope you enjoyed this little kind of like mashup video of places that I went. Subscribe down below, it helps me out a lot. Also thumbs up and comment, share, whatever. Even just by watching this video helps me out, so thank you very much. And I hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye!